Hello, welcome to Maur Farms. I'm Chris Viginski, and along with my son Nathaniel Shea Viginski, we're here to welcome you guys and everybody to Adopt a Cow program. And we are located in the beautiful town of Othello, Washington, USA, which is right in the heart of the Columbia Basin, eastern Washington. I'm a third-generation dairyman here at Maur Farms. I'm currently in operation with my parents, Dan and Maureen Viginski, and then my sister Jennifer is assisting too on the farm, and along with my wife Janice, and we all work together to do what we can to make a quality product and produce quality milk for the world. We've been here since 1978. I was 5 years old when we moved here. My mom and dad were renting a place over in Bothell, Washington, just north of Seattle. And they had an opportunity to buy this dairy, this place, and they bought it in 1978. We built the parlor and later on added to it as we expanded our operation. So we currently milk 300 dairy cows, Brown Swiss, Holsteins, and Jerseys. And we like the combination of all three. They all bring benefits to the milk tank for us, volume of milk, protein of milk, and butter fat. We also raise about 320 young stock from 1 day old to 18 to 24 months. And so we got lots of things to keep us busy here at Maur Farms. So here at Maur Farms, we raise our calves in individual hutches. The reason we do that is primarily for the calf safety and for health reasons, but each calf is individually housed so that they can make sure that they are getting the proper amount of milk, grain, and water that each animal needs to gain efficiently every day of their lives. And also another reason we individually house them and instead of group housing for us is if one of the animals gets sick, it stays isolated to one area versus group housing where if one calf got sick, chances are the other ones are going to get sick. We're currently standing next to a set of twins here. These two are twin heifers. And it's kind of a different scenario. Usually you don't get twin heifers. You do get twins, not very many, but when you do, it's usually one male and one female. But we were kind of blessed to have two females. These calves here are at 1 month of age. We raise them up to 3 months in these hutches. At the end of 3 months, we'll leave them in the hutch for 2 weeks just to wean them off of milk, where they only get milk for once a day for a week, and then the following week they only get grain and water, and just kind of a transition before they go on to group housing. We group them in groups of 6 to 8, depending on size. We try to stick right around 6. In the pen, and it just kind of gives the calves a chance to socialize, develop friends, just like kids in kindergarten. Calves develop friends, and so we try to keep them in small groups where they get that social environment, that friendship, and then eventually, as they get older, they'll be mixed into a bigger group of 12 to 18. They kind of stick to that friendship and that buddy system, and we kind of let them stick with that buddy system all the way up to when they become milk cows. And we still see it today in the milk herd where calves were buddies as calves. You'll see them, they lie next to each other, they eat next to each other as milk cows. And so that's kind of why we do what we do here at Maur Farm. So when we last talked, I had mentioned after the calves are weaned, they go into a group housing of 6 to 8, depending on size, and then from those 6 to 8, we kind of group them together, and they'll go into a pen right behind me here, and So in here we actually got 13 to 14, and they actually introduced the headlocks, which this young Jersey has got her head in, and we're also introduced them to a feed. As they get older, we introduce them to a feed, and this is what we call a total mixed ration. So in this feed we got alfalfa, we got some barley silage, corn silage, a little bit of corn silage, there's some grain mixed in there, and then coal onions, which is kind of unique to the area we live in. We get coal onions, they grow a lot of onions here in the Columbia Basin, and whatever, these onions are a bit on the smaller side for the human market, so the fresh market. So instead of disposing them, we get them here and we can feed them to the young stock. So therefore the heifers get to eat the onions. They're a good source of energy, lots of water, but they're a good source of energy. And I view it as a way of utilizing a product that would otherwise go to waste. And so whenever I can get a byproduct, whether it's cold potatoes, cold onions, cold apples. I work with a nutritionist with my feed company. She tells me how many pounds each animal needs per day. And so that's what we mix into the total mixed ration. And so to make sure that these animals get what they need to, because we want them to gain 2 to 3 pounds a day because they're growing. And so we want to make sure everything's up to par so that they meet that daily weight gain. So we are standing in our maternity barn here at Dore Farms. This is where we do all the calving. When there's a cow about ready to calve, we try to isolate her so she gets her own pen with some clean straw in her own environment where she can have the calf on her own. This cow here just had a baby here 2 hours ago. She's lying down resting, just licked off her baby, and so she'll get milked here tonight when we start milking again in a few hours. And then her colostrum, which is the first milk, is full of antibodies and highly nutrition. We'll test it, make sure it's of a quality, and if it meets our standards, that calf will get that colostrum right away tonight. We also have powdered colostrum that we feed. So if the milk quality of colostrum is not where we want it, we use powdered colostrum, which is high in antibodies, high in fat, and high in protein to give that calf the best start that he or she can to get off to a healthy start. We try to do it as soon as possible, so this cow will get milked here in the next few hours, and then so the sooner we can get that colostrum into that calf, ideally the better. Next to her, the other cow is about ready to calve, and so they're all grouped here in loose housing, and we just watch them constantly, and when the next cow is due to calve, we isolate them into these maternity pens where we can get special attention to them. Because there are times when these cows do need our assistance in calving. The calf needs to be, mom needs our help to get the calf out. Same way doctor helps on the human side of things, we're here to help.
Welcome to our Freestall barn.
Yes, we're currently standing in our Freestall barn here at Dore Farms. So a Freestall barn is where the housing takes place for us. We're standing actually in the feed lane. It's a nice wide area, as you can see. So this is where we do all the feeding. And so what we have is we got 2 sets of groups of cows on either side of the barn here. Our barn here is 105 feet wide by 225 feet long, and it'll house 250 cows. So, but many features about this barn is people often wonder and ask us, why is it so tall? So It's a very tall building. We do it for airflow. It's 14-foot eaves, and then it's got a very high pitch, and we left the center open. So the idea is to let the heat, because we're here in eastern Washington, where we get several days of 100-degree weather, it provides a lot of shade and then allows the heat to go up and then exit out of the top. And it also provides good cover in the winter from snow and rain. But that's the reasoning for having it so tall, is just it creates a nice natural ventilation. We get usually a nice breeze in the afternoon. If it's a 100-degree day, we get a nice breeze through that helps keep the cows comfortable. Here too, we also have, there's Freestalls, individual stalls. All the cows are standing up right now because we're currently feeding. Just got done feeding, but Freestalls where the cows get to pick and choose the stalls where they want to lay accordingly whenever they choose to lay down. We also have access to exercise lots out there where we're on many times the cows like to go outside, get a little exercise, and at night on a nice summer day, you'll find 90% of the cows choose to lay outside versus the Freestalls, just because it's just a nice summer night. It's nicely cool. They just prefer to lay outside in a more natural environment. When the weather's bad during the winter time, they'll prefer to lay inside. We just give our cows the opportunity to let them decide. If they want to lay inside, they can. If it's a nice summer night and they want to lay outside underneath the stars, they can. So we just let the cows decide on their own. So we are currently in the milking parlor here at Dore Farms, and our parlor is what they call a double 12 parallel. And for those that don't know what that means, is it's kind of a unique parlor, but we milk 12 on one side and then 12 on the other. The cows will come in on this side and they turn, they face the wall, and we actually milk between the legs underneath. So cows will stand next to each other side by side, and they actually find very comfort in standing next to each other. Cows like company, so they're actually very calm when they're in here. The idea, it's kind of an assembly line approach here with the parallel system. While we're getting the cows ready and milking on one side, once they're being milked, either us or our hired help can start to go to work on the other side. So you're always continually moving and milking cows, so it kind of just speeds the process up. Nate here is holding the claw and the machine here, and what we got here is this is the milking machine, and it's just a manual on-off here. So that would turn the vacuum off, and then that would turn the vacuum on. And then we actually would milk between the legs of the cow, putting the hind two on first and then the front two. And they would sit right there underneath the cow between the legs. And that's how we do the milking. We use a series, we use a pre-dip. We'll go through, Nate will grab the pre-dip. And yeah. So it's an iodine-based pre-dip, and it's a disinfectant. We use this to, we'll go through and we dip each teat on the udder. So we use the towel to clean the udder. We try to use one towel per cow. We clean each teat accordingly. Sometimes using both towels. We want to make sure all the teats are completely clean of any dirt and debris before we put the machine on. And then once the machine is off and the cow's done milking, we use a second, we call a post dip. So we just use a cloth towel to wipe the udder clean, after the disinfectant's been on for at least 20 to 30 seconds, minimum, up to a minute. So we can milk up to 300 cows in just under 4 hours. Is the time frame it takes us, so that's twice a day. The average cow here, Jerseys don't produce as much milk as a Holstein, but they have a higher fat in their milk, so they actually milk quicker. But on average, our cows milk 6 to 8 gallons a day, every day. Every cow a little bit different based off of the time frame and lactation. When a cow first has a baby, has a calf, she'll start to produce a fair amount of milk, and for up to the first 100 days post-calving, is when she kind of hits her peak of production, which a Holstein could milk up to 150 pounds a day easily, and there's 8.6 pounds of milk to every gallon, so that's a lot of gallons a good Holstein produce. At the end of each milking, we want to make sure we get everything washed and clean so that everything stays clean for the next milking. So the machines are hung up here, and we put on, these are called wash jetter cups, and we run a series of hot water with chlorine through the machine, through the pipeline, and it does it for 10 minutes at 120 degrees hot water with a chlorine liquid and a chlorine soap. And then that helps with the swirling around and the circulating. It gets in here and makes sure that we don't have any milk residue left in the claw itself or in the teat cups, and then especially in the pipeline. So our milk is picked up every 48 hours. And it goes through Dairy Gold where it gets processed. But when they pick up our milk out of our tank, they always take a milk sample. And then that milk sample at the lab, at the plant, before they even unload it out of the truck, they test for antibiotics to make sure that the milk is clean. Once that clears that safety barrier, then it gets unloaded off the truck and gets processed. But that fat and that protein, they use that for making all kinds of dairy products, from yogurts to cheeses to ice cream, etc. So it's just a great, it's not just delicious milk to drink, but they can, with the added fat and protein in the milk, they can make just 100 different other products with it. When the milk is harvested, it goes into this pipeline. It's a 3-inch pipeline, and the pipeline, gravity flows down to here where we got a receiver jar that can hold up to 15 to 20 gallons of milk. And in that receiver jar is a float system. And when that float gets activated, there's a pump that pumps the milk through this big device here. Well, this device is actually what we call a milk filter. It's got a filter sock in it, and it'll filter out any foreign debris, any large objects, any manure, that sort of thing. So it's just the first of the sanitary system that we go through to produce the highest quality milk that we can. So it goes through a filter system. The pump pushes it through this pipeline here, and it'll go up into the milk tanks. And so when the milk comes through, it exchanges. This is a cold water plate cooler. So the cold water goes through, and it goes through a filter or exchange. So the hot milk goes in, and it cools down about 20 degrees colder. And so it'll come out about 65 to 70 degrees out of the top. And then in exchange, you'll have cold well water, which is about 55 degrees. And it'll come out about 70 degrees, and then it goes into a tank out back on the other side of this wall. Then we use that water to help wash the parlor floor in when we're done milking. So the water gets utilized. So the cold water cools the milk, and then the water becomes warmer water. It's just a quick exchange to help get the milk cold before it goes into our milk tanks here. We got two 2,000-gallon tanks. Like I said, we put one day in one day in the other, and then they pick us up that night. But in this here is refrigerated tanks. So as soon as the milk is here, within an hour, it'll be cooled down to 40 degrees or so. Anywhere from 38 to 44 degrees, we get the milk cooled down. Once it's chilled to that level, it'll maintain it for up to 48 hours before the milk truck picks us up. So here at our farm, we do a couple things with the waste management. I'm currently standing on the slab where all the manure from the barn, once the cows are in the parlor, we scrape all the manure to this end where we're currently standing, and then the manure is scraped into a pit over here to my left, and it's kind of a sand trap or a pump. And we also have some pushed off to the slab over here
in the winter time.
For the winter time. But all this manure is, we compost it and it gets recycled. And viewing out there straight ahead, you'll see a cornfield, and all this manure is applicated to the field, and it helps fertilize the cornfield out there, which in turn gives us corn silage, which is a great energy source for our cows. So it's our way of utilizing a byproduct. You're gonna have to deal with waste management with the cattle. So we use it for a couple of things. I also work with a couple of neighbor farmers who grow hay. They'll take some of the manure for their crops to help produce their hay, and it's hay that I end up buying back and we feed the cows with. So it's kind of a full circle operation and a way to recycle the manure. So we're one point in time it was a nuisance, where it's actually utilized pretty well here for us. And then the dry manure also, as we view over here to my right, you'll see a sand pile. But under that, mixed in with that sand, we also use some dry manure, and that gets utilized in the freestalls for the cows to bed in. And so we use dry manure with some sand, and it provides a nice, comfortable bedding. For us, it's an economic point. Instead of purchasing shavings like some dairymen do, or straw or other products to bed the cows up with, we're using something that we live in already. We got manure, and we live in a sandy area, so we have sand that we mix with the manure to provide. And cows love, it's like being in a big sandbox. Cows love the sand. They enjoy laying in it. And it's a very sanitary, clean environment. Sand, it's abrasive, it's hard on our manure equipment, but however, it's very comfortable for the cows. And even if it becomes wet from the cows, it does stay very sanitary. And that's the thing, where you don't want your cows laying in something that's going to increase the bacteria level and potentially cause a bacterial infection. So the dry manure mixed with the sand, it's kind of works in for us for the freestalls and the bedding operation. So
thank you for joining Adopt a Cow and Maur Farms. Also, drink a glass of milk.